Something's shifted in this country, and it's not just politics or inflation. For the first time since the Great Depression, more Americans are leaving the US than coming in. Not immigrants, not tourists, citizens, nurses, teachers, factory workers, people who followed the rules, got degrees, bought homes, and still found themselves exhausted, anxious, and wondering if there's a better life elsewhere. They're not running from America. They're running toward peace, stability, and a chance to breathe.
I'm 48. I'm a registered nurse. I live in St. Pete, Florida, and I am leaving the United States to move to Thailand this September.
When did we decide that it was time to leave the United States? I get this question a lot, and I wish that there was just one aha moment where I knew for sure it was time to go. Unfortunately, it was much more of a slow burn. It's going to be a very different United States for my kids' generation than it was for me growing up. I don't know how we would afford college for 3 kids in the United States, if I'm being fully honest. I was worried about gun violence every single day. And all of these little things, I think, something clicked in the early summer where I was like, oh, this is irreparable damage, or at least damage that's probably not going to be fixed in my lifetime. And that's ultimately what pushed us to do it. Just not feeling like there was a great future for our kids if we stayed in the United States.
Okay, so wait a minute. For the first time since the Great Depression, more Americans are leaving the United States than moving here. And I'm not talking about immigrants. I'm talking about Americans packing up, heading to places like Portugal, Spain, Ireland, and even Germany. And look, this isn't about a political food fight at all. This is not an opinion. This is data. The Census Bureau is saying this. The Brookings Institution is saying this. The bigger question is, why is that happening? Why are so many people looking at America and then thinking their future might be somewhere else?
Quitting my job and leaving the U.S. was literally the best decision I have ever made. I think the old American dream that they sold us in the 50s, 60s, 70s is dead. The new American dream is peace and rest and financial stability. And a lot of times you can't get that with the house that they tell you got to get the house with the picket fence, white picket fence, or whatever. A lot of times you can't get that. Financial stability means renting an apartment, then that's what it means. If peace means taking a break from America, then that's what it is. It's not really just like, oh, the American dream is no longer the American dream. It's the fact that you can barely breathe. Like, you really can't take time off work without worrying about bills. And then when you leave the house, you spend $100 minimum. And I feel like I did everything right. Excuse me, I just left the gym. I feel like I did everything right. Like, I went to school, got multiple degrees, got the house, got the car, the American dream, got married. But I just wasn't happy. I just didn't want to participate in a life in America anymore. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to take a break in life.
So I moved out of America for the first time in my life 7 months ago. And all my friends from home now would say I've gotten really liberal since moving to Europe. But the truth is, I've just left America for the first time in my life and started seeing reality. And the truth is, we're being lied to our entire life. Amsterdam is where I live now. Everyone thinks it's like the drug capital of the world. There are no crackheads in Amsterdam. 0 crackheads. You got some alcoholics, but no crackheads. You know why? There's no crack. Other thing, prices in the supermarket are like less than half of what I was used to in New York. Now, I don't mean to sound so like negative and like America. I'm very proud to have been born and raised in New York. But my message today is the propaganda machine you were fed is so much louder than you realize. And the world is so much bigger than your hometown and what the media tells you.
We've made a year that we have been living outside of America, and it feels so great. Like, it's such a huge accomplishment to say that we are successfully living abroad. And I just had to come out here and tell y'all that the journey, although we've had our ups and downs, has been a complete blessing. Like, I'm going to say this over and over again. This was the best decision that we have ever made. And when we got on those planes, when we got on that plane, when we bought those tickets, we just felt like a big boulder being lifted off of me and my husband's back. And just knowing that we can give our children a better version of us was just so, yeah, it's just beyond words can really explain. Um, yeah, y'all. August 2nd of 2025, we left America and we are never going back because we found out that we don't even have to go back to renew the children's passports. So it has just been an amazing journey. Like, we've been to Jamaica since we left America. We've been to Jamaica, Taiwan, Malaysia, Vietnam, and Thailand. We've been to 5 countries that we would have never been able to go to if we were still living there. Beautiful, beautiful countries. And I'm just so excited for what's new to come.
I think maturing is realizing that the end goal is actually to get out of the U.S. Make your money in the U.S. and then get out, bro. Like, this place is just horrible, bro. Like, the food is poisonous. Like, bro, everything's trying to kill you. Government is corrupt. Like, this country's cooked, bro. We gotta get out.
If y'all needed any more reasoning as to why I'm leaving the country, take a look at this absolute abomination of city planning. Unfortunately, this is how most of America looks outside of big cities. This is not a country anymore, but a functional economic zone that you are meant to contribute to until your life ends. And maybe if you're lucky, every year or two, you can take a vacation to actually live for once somewhere else in the world.
In honor of this year's 4th of July, I'm going to tell you why I left America 3 years ago, or the United States, and how my life has changed in those last 3 years. Quick backstory. In 2023, it was the year of my 30th birthday, and I was freaking the f*** out. I was having a midlife, quarter-life crisis, whatever you want to call it, but I hated my life. I hated where I was. I was working 12-hour shifts at the factory in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I was 280 pounds. I was on 6 different medications for anxiety, panic attacks, hypertension, asthma because of the work environment. It was just absolutely horrible. I hated my job, hated my car, hated my house, hated the location. I didn't like anything about my life. And so I gave myself 2 options. Number 1, I could quit life in general. You know what I mean? The extreme option. Or number 2, I could reset. I could abandon everything that I had going that I didn't like in my life and change it and make it my own and live the life that I always imagined I'd be living at that age. And so I chose the second option, obviously. And what I did was I gave myself a 6-month plan. I saved every penny that I possibly could for 6 months. And then after those 6 months, I sold my car, sold all my stuff. I quit my job, broke my lease, and filed my tax returns, cashed out my 401k, which was like just a couple $1,000s. And I took all that money and I booked a one-way flight to Thailand, where I live currently. I live in Phuket, Thailand. I've lived here for the last 3 years. But that's what I did. And since then, with no experience, having been a factory worker, before that I was a bartender, before that I was driving for Postmates, before that I was doing construction, before that I was doing working at a grocery store as a bagger. That was my job experience. And I came out here with no plan, no job, no degree, no corporate experience, no corporate skills, nothing. And I built an entire business from posting content and selling digital products. I made multiple 6 figures in the last 2 years. And it's changed my entire life. And the reason I'm telling you all that is because none of that would have happened if I didn't change my environment. Now, I love America. This is not to hate on America. I wish the best for the country that I grew up in. But right now, I think a lot of people are feeling this shift that's happening. And for a lot of people who feel like I felt at 30 years old, that day of my birthday, I think that an environment change is necessary, whether it's to Thailand or whether it's to another city or to another state or just out of your hometown or out of wherever you are right now. When you're able to change your environment, it gives you that freedom to start changing yourself. I think a lot of the time where we are at keeps us locked down in our current position, and people there try to keep us down because they want everyone to stay at their level. But changing your environment allows you to reinvent yourself. It allows you to face your fears, overcome obstacles that you may have never overcome before, and just change. Get new experiences, meet new people, experience new cultures. And that alone will change the way that you see the world. It will change the way that you see people. And for Thailand in particular, being such a safe place where I'm able to be at peace and I don't have to be stressed out everywhere I go, especially now that I have my family here, I have my son, my wife, I'm not worried about it. Violence, any of that stuff, I don't worry about anything. And just that alone has allowed me to sort of flourish in my own right. And so or within myself. And honestly, that right there is the biggest change you will ever make. You want to have success, you want to have a life that you can be proud of and cool experiences, you have to change yourself first. And if changing yourself means changing your environment, do it, even if it's out of the country. It's 2026, guys.
North America is a giant scam. This is what $1,500 a month gets me in Thailand. I left because the math just stopped mathing. Back home, we work all month just to survive. Rent, insane. Food, expensive. And the weather, terrible. Half the year is depressing. Out here in Thailand, I pay $450 a month for my rent.
My family moved from the U.S. to Panama City, Panama in January. We are currently back in the States visiting. And I feel like now is a very appropriate time for me to kind of just speak on how I know we were supposed to move to Panama. Kind of just give like some basic comparisons, starting off with my gut health and my nervous system. Within 2 days of being back in the U.S., and don't get me wrong here, I don't dislike or hate the U.S. I appreciate the opportunities. I love the fact that I can come back whenever I want, and then of course my family and friends are here. However, within 3 days of being back here, my migraines were back, my gut issues were back, bloating, constipation, and I didn't come back and just start eating crazy or eating any differently than I did when we were in Panama. And no matter how much I take my time here, I still feel like everything is so rushed. It's not me rushing, but like just everyone around me is in a hurry. The amount of money we've spent since we've been back. So we've been back for a couple of weeks now. But within our first week back in the US, we spent more in that week than we would spend in a month in Panama. And this isn't splurging on anything crazy. Like, we have quite literally just been purchasing our essentials. Because we spent a week at our best friend's house, so it's not like we had to spend money on Airbnbs or hotels. And then this week we're at my in-laws, so we're not spending money on accommodations. It's quite literally just like gas, groceries, toiletries, things of that nature, and I got my nails done. Which was another reality check, because I could have sworn that the nail prices in Panama and the nail prices in the States were quite similar, but they're not. It's like $25-ish dollars more here, $25 to $30. I could have got this same set done in Panama for like $50. And these are all things that I already knew, but leaving and then coming back just kind of further solidified the differences. But now that I got that out of the way, some things that I did miss about the U.S. is, first and foremost, our vehicle, because we don't have a car in Panama. And although we can walk to wherever we want to go, if we want to go long distances, where we'd have to rent a car. So I love the freedom of having our own vehicle. I didn't realize I missed it until we got back here, and I can just get up and go, and I don't have to wait on an Uber. I also miss the country. I'm from the South, and when we're at my in-laws, I can wake up in the morning, I can roll out the bed, I can go outside, and I can shoot guns on the property. I don't have to go through like going to a gun range or anything like that. And another thing, I can carry. That doesn't matter for some people, but that's important to me. I like to shoot guns. But another thing though is I don't feel like I need a gun in Panama. Like, I'm sitting outside of Walmart, I'm about to go in Walmart, and unfortunately, I do feel like I need my firearm in Walmart. Whereas if I was going to a store in Panama or just walking down the street at night, I don't feel like I need a firearm. So, I mean, I could ramble all day about this, but each place has its pros. And those are just some few comparisons I've been able to make over the past 2 weeks.
People ask me all the time, why in the hell would you leave America? Honestly, I think they're asking me the wrong question. Every time I tell people I'm planning to move to Colombia in South America, I hear exactly the same thing over and over. It's not safe. You don't speak no Spanish. No hablo español. You don't know anybody there. That's not true. Family's not there. How can you possibly leave America? I completely understand those concerns. I do. Let me ask you something. If you're 62 years old, which I'm going to be soon, living on Social Security, and you have a choice between struggling every month and not being able to pay your bills, or
being able to enjoy your life? Seriously, which one are you choosing? That's what this all comes down to. For me, number one reason is so simple. I get more time with my new wife, Sandra. More peace. More time with my little pup, Wolfie. More time working less time working and more time doing what I want to do. I don't want to spend the rest of my life wondering if at some point I'm not going to have enough money for rent or groceries. Everything's going up. I want to enjoy the years that I have left, whatever that is. Second reason, cost of living. It's simple. Where I'm moving, in the Colombian mountains, $500 a month is what it takes for us to both live, for everything: housing, utilities, cell phone, transportation, health cost, fresh food with no additives. Once in a while going out to dinner, it's not even close. The social security that I can't live on here can provide an amazing life there. So simple. Not a millionaire life, but I don't care about that. A comfortable life for both my wife and I, where we do not have to worry. And here's the crazy part. On top of that, it pays for all that, and I get to save money. Think about it. If I can live on that money and put money away every month, what a game changer. People say, but your family's not there. I love my family. I do. Let's be real honest. I don't see them now. My brother, I haven't seen him in 3 years. Life gets busy. He works, I work, both got remarried, responsibilities. But moving to Colombia, being able to save money, I can go see him twice a year. I can't do that now working full-time living in Florida. I have way more money available to me for trips back home. The flight from Colombia to Florida, couple of hours. It's the same distance from where I live now to fly to him from Colombia is over there. And the Colombia over there, the weather over there is unbelievable. Temps are 59 to 74 all year long. No brutal winters, no crazy summers. I'm telling you, this Florida, I'm melting in Florida. Plus the views are amazing. Coffee farms, living in the mountains, fresh air, fresh food. I'm just saying. When I want to go to the beach, it's a $29 flight and $29 back. I don't have to live on the beach to enjoy it. And then healthcare, world-class healthcare, it's a fraction of the cost.
It was just one thing after another, after another, after another, that we were just like, you know what? We can't do this anymore. We lost a fortune in the global financial crisis. Sandy Hook happened like a month or two before we ever visited New Zealand on holiday. This was before we decided to move here. The ACA, the Affordable Care Act, was passed by Congress. When it passed, it made it law that every major employer with a certain number of employees that worked 30 hours or more were considered full-time, and therefore the company had to provide them with healthcare options. I got called into HR at the company that I worked for, huge company, and they were like, hey, we need you to dial back your hours. At the time I was working 30 hours to 32 hours a week, hourly. I was getting paid hourly, and they were like, we need you to dial back your hours to get under 30 hours a week. And I'm like, why? They're like, because we don't want to have to pay for your healthcare. And I'm like, the ACA, the Affordable Care Act. And I'm like, Yeah, no, I'm not going to cut my hours simply because this company doesn't want to give me health care. By the way, I don't even need the health care. I can get it through my husband. And they're like, we still need to cut your hours. And that's because they knew that they were going to be paying health care for people. So they were trying to dock hours of people like me to save money on the balance sheets. You guys don't want to follow the law, so you are docking my hours, and I need those hours. I need to work. I need to make money. And so you just want to cut me back to 20 hours a week. Why would I stay? And then around the same time, my coworker had come back to her desk after just 4 weeks after a C-section, after having a baby, because the company that I worked for didn't offer maternity leave. Zero. The only thing that they gave her was 3 months FMLA, which is Family Medical Leave Act, which is unpaid. But even she couldn't take the full 3 months of unpaid because she couldn't afford it. So she was back at her desk, and only a couple of weeks after a C-section, and later I had a C-section. That the amount of time that you need to recover is 8 weeks. They won't even let you legally drive until 8 weeks. So I was looking at her and I said, "What are you doing here?" She goes, "Well, I have to work. I can't afford it. They don't pay maternity leave here." And I said, "Well, where's your baby?" She goes, "Well, right now, baby's home with my husband, but then he's going back to work and we're putting baby in daycare." An 8-week-old in daycare. And I went home and I looked at my husband and I said, "This is not our future. This cannot happen. This is unreal." So all of this stuff was happening at the same time. And I'm like, fuck this. Then we went to New Zealand and I looked around and I went, oh, this country has its priorities straight. 6 months paid maternity leave, 4 weeks guaranteed annual vacation time, 10 sick days, universal health care. Over the last 12 years, I've landed in the hospital with life-threatening issues. For the past 12 years I've lived in New Zealand. Once was during my miscarriage. The second time was with the birth of my son, which was very, very dicey. I needed an emergency C-section and a 5-day stay. And then I landed in the hospital last year with a possible heart attack, ended up being fine. Those 3 times that I showed up at the ED, guess what? $0 bill. Nothing. I didn't pay a thing. Even with insurance in the States, say goodbye to your deductible. And then you're probably paying stuff that the insurance didn't want to pay.
This is something we got to talk about. United States citizens are leaving the U.S. and going to other countries. Whether it's Ghana, whether it's Thailand, whether it's Tokyo, you're starting to see it more and more. This is not a drill. This is happening. And for whatever reason, people are pretty much giving up on the American dream for whatever reason. And what I've personally seen from the videos is everybody's happy. And at the end of the day, that's what you want to be. You want to be happy. You don't want to be somewhere where you're miserable, you're struggling, and it's just killing your vibe. But we really I think this is something we got to start talking about. People will come to America because America was what they would say the American dream. And I think the American dream is now turned into the American nightmare. And when you look at these other countries, if you're cultured enough, you'll see that, man, the places are beautiful. They have the same thing, if not more. The prices split in half, probably less than split in half. And you get a lot more. But it's just weird. We have these politicians in place right now who are just really turning this shit into a third world country. Like when you have U.S. citizens that decide to say, you know what, place, I'm out. And just uproot their entire life and go to another country that they have no clue about, and they're taking the biggest risk. But when you look at them a year, 2 years later, they're extremely happy. You got a serious problem here on the U.S. soil. That's a real problem.
Don't move to escape anything. You're not running from, you're running toward. So many people are moving out of the United States. I think it's important to say don't run away from anything, right? For Americans, if you're living in Dublin with an American salary, you're doing really well. What freedom do you want to live in to build the life that you want to live? That's the question you want to be asking. Which freedom is right for me? Whatever your motivation is, a global move is a big deal. Do it with some knowledge, some information, research your tax obligations. Real estate is really expensive where I am in Dublin. Housing is kind of scarce. Investigate details like that, things that you might might not know. How do the school systems work if you're moving with kids? And how does that affect your home search?
I realized I had to leave my environment to stop shrinking myself because of the roles that I unconsciously played for people in my life. And this is another level of freedom that you don't even realize that you are reaching for. You think that moving to another country is just about location freedom, about cheapness of rent. No, you are tired of shrinking yourself. You know that feeling when you're showing up to work right before you get out of the car and you put on this armor, getting ready to face your day and to be something, have this energy that you honestly probably don't even have for this job first thing in the morning. Or having this crazy idea of starting a business through content and everybody around you is questioning, how are you going to do it? Is that a legitimate career? Sometimes the change you're seeking in your environment is what is needed for you to tap into that next level of yourself. Because right now what's waking up within you is out of alignment with your environment. And you think it's job burnout, but you're burnt out from having to suppress yourself. And this is why I know that anybody who is seeking and craving a life living abroad, you are seeking fundamentally to feel free. And your mind, body, and spirit are so intelligently speaking to you because it knows an environmental change is needed.
I'm Lydia, and 4 months ago I quit my job, sold all my stuff, and left the United States for good, and it's time for a story time. Growing up in America, and especially in a household where your parents are financially stressed most of the time, your whole goal is to be successful, to go to a good school, get a good job, make money, eventually get in a relationship, buy a house, have kids, the whole 9 yards of the traditional American lifestyle. And I was trying really hard to do that. I was working 3 jobs in the States before I left, and I was grinding, working my ass off, but still feeling like I was making just enough to scrape by. I had a full social life, lots of friends, a very healthy relationship, but something was missing. And there was a little voice inside my head that was like, this is not it. This can't be what life is all about. I eventually realized that I wanted something different out of my life. I wanted to travel, to be free, to soak up all of the experiences that the world's could offer me, and to follow my passion for yoga. I went through a heart-wrenching breakup, quit all 3 of my jobs, sold all of the stuff in my apartment, and booked a one-way ticket to India. That was 4 months ago, and in the past 4 months, I've been traveling around India and Southeast Asia on my own, and I'm just figuring this shit out. I volunteered in a couple hostels, I've learned how to surf, I've climbed mountains, I've finished my 300-hour yoga teacher training. I'm working on planning some future trips and retreats, but I really have no set plan. I'm figuring out how to travel on a tight budget because I'm funding this entire thing by myself, and I'm taking you guys along with me. I'm sharing all of this because I hope it resonates with someone else, someone who has that tiny voice inside of their head saying that there's something more for you, to get up and leave, to try something new. I feel very lucky that I am able to travel like this, that I am healthy, that I have a passport that I can travel with, that I have no commitments or responsibilities that are really holding me back right now. You've been thinking about this, and the only thing holding you back is fear of the unknown, fear of uncertainty.
We're leaving the United States. Yes, you heard that correctly. If you already follow me, then you probably know that I have struggled a lot mentally since returning to the United States. When we were in India, I felt free, I felt like I was glowing, I felt like myself, and I don't know why I'm struggling so bad here. Hate to put a tinfoil hat on, but maybe it's because I'm around more than 250 5G towers within 10 miles of my home, or maybe it's because I don't have a support system here other than my husband who works 24/7 to provide for our family. Or maybe it's because I finally got to feel the love from a mother that I never got to feel from my own mother when I was in India. Regardless of the reason, we made a really hard choice for our family, and my son are going to India in August. And yes, I'm terrified about flying across the world with a toddler by myself. Our house will not finish being built until February of 2027, so we will still be staying in the 200-year-old house. But we have put an AC in the house. We bought a real bed. We've done a lot of things to make sure that me and my son are comfortable. The hardest part about this journey is going to be not seeing my husband for 6 months, and my son not seeing his father for 6 months. But it's the right decision, and we have thought really long and hard about this, and it is the best decision for our family. So anyways, that's my update. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll be seeing you later.
I want to say I am very thankful to be American. I don't want to be like, oh my God, the United States sucks. No, it doesn't. I really do. I'm like one of the most patriotic people out there. I think that all of the opportunities that I have today is because I am an American. And even when I say I'm leaving the United States, I can leave with the comfort knowing that I can always come back. So I'm not here to like crap on the United States. I'm very thankful that I live here. I'm very thankful that I'm American. But I've always wanted to go try living somewhere else. But all my education is here in America. I work here in America, and so I never really figured out how I was going to leave until now. I finally finished my MBA, and my dad recently moved to Brazil, and I was like, Dad, like, let's start a business in Brazil. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm kind of leaving everything behind and taking a risk since, I don't really have like kids. I don't have a partner. I thought this was a perfect time to take that risk. And yeah, I'm going to start like, it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. Like one of the most like unstable times in the United States. I'm gonna leave everything and start my life over somewhere else. But then that's where I'm saying like there's a comfort that comes with being American because I can also come back anytime.
I live and work in Spain, making roughly 1,000 euros a month, which in America is nothing, but in Spain is more than enough to live. I only work 16 hours a week, and I'm able to afford a super nice apartment in the city center of Madrid. Food costs me 20 euros a week. My electric bill is like 30 euros a month. I don't have to worry about gas or a car payment or insurance because the public transportation system is so world class that you don't even need a car at all. Madrid is like the New York of Spain, except if you were living in the city center of New York, you'd have to be making literally at least $5,000 a month, and that's extremely lowballing it. Just their way of life in general, like, is so much more relaxed and just taking time to enjoy life rather than just working constantly. They literally have a siesta in the middle of the day where they take 3 hours to go nap or go to a coffee shop to hang out with friends. Like, the American mind cannot fathom. It's just crazy to me because, like, you've been told growing up your whole life that America is the best country in the world. That's just so far from the truth. And it's like very obvious how much worse it is now that I've gotten out.
Today officially marks 45 days until I leave America permanently. Well, maybe not permanently. I don't think New York is completely over, but this chapter is. I think that there will be a time in the near future where I will be able to live between my new home, my new country of Spain, and my home, New York City. But for now, I'm leaving in literally 6 weeks. 45 days to be exact from today. And honestly, I feel really, really at peace with it. I'm not nervous. I'm really excited. I kind of wish that I was already there. I'm not afraid at all. All of these feelings that I have where I feel really calm and at peace with this decision to leave everything that I've known and have grown with my business, my family, my friendships, everything that I have built here, I'm leaving behind. I'm not taking any of it with me. I'm packing as much as I can in my suitcases and I'm out. I've never done anything like this. I'm a big risk taker, but this is quite literally probably the biggest risk I've ever taken. I've taken other risks, like obviously starting a business is a really big risk. I started my business almost 8 years ago when I'm walking away from it. I think that life is about taking chances, and that's the only way you're really gonna get to grow and fully be able to learn and understand who you are and what your purpose is. And I am so excited to find out what that actually is. I have an idea of what that is. I'm pretty clear on what my purpose in this life is. Now, how will I be able to have the impact over there? And how will I be able to get closer to my goals by removing myself from everything that I know? I don't know, but I'm gonna do it anyway and fully trust and surrender to the process, so.
What we're seeing isn't a trend, it's a quiet exodus. People aren't leaving because they hate their country. They're leaving because they love their families too much to let them grow up in a system that prioritizes profit over people. The data is clear. Healthcare costs, housing insecurity, gun violence, and relentless work culture are pushing Americans to seek dignity abroad. And when they get there, they don't just survive, they thrive. That's not failure, that's a wake-up call. If you've ever thought about leaving or know someone who has, what was the breaking point? Was it cost, safety, or just the weight of it all? Share your story in the comments. You're not alone. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.